a year or two ago, my daughter, she's 13 now, so when she's maybe 11, her music teacher was doing different genres of music, and they did opera. One segment was opera, and so she asked, like, she can go to an opera, and I'm just like, I guess so. I mean, I occasionally find out about either media preview nights or opening nights, so I took her with me to an opera, and I thought maybe she would kind of get antsy, but she just enjoyed it. Like, she sat through the whole thing, and she's like, I can't wait to tell my teacher.
You're listening to Oh My Omaha, the podcast, where we uncover inspiring things about our community through the stories of inspiring people who call it home. I am Dee Harrell, and this is the creator of Oh My Omaha, the blog, and the blogosphere's friendliest face herself, Kim Reiner.
Hi there.
Hello, Kim.
Hi, it's good seeing you.
You too. It's been, what, 2 weeks?
I think longer. Like, I feel.
Oh, yeah. Yep, 3 weeks now.
Yeah. So.
That's crazy. How was your break?
It was pretty low key.
Yeah.
I mean, just the kids at home and them always asking to go do something and trying to balance that with work. So.
Yeah. Did you do anything fun or out of the ordinary?
We went to Smash Park.
Yes.
So that was fun.
They have karaoke.
Yep. And I wanted you to come with.
That's
okay. So we had a bit of that. And the kids brought friends, so they had a good time there. And
I was going to ask, is there, like, because it's a bar too, right? Or
it is a bar.
So...
Kind of. So, like, the karaoke is upstairs, and it's its own little suite. So you were removed, and we were there, like, at 3 in the afternoon. So
did the kids go?
Yeah. So it's totally, it's I think it's only 21 and older upstairs after 6 p.m. So
good to know.
Yeah.
MLK Day is on Monday, so maybe it's open because then there's no school for the kids. So.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Cool.
It was fun.
Yeah. Well, it's really new. Like, when did it open? Just
last summer,
ago, right?
I think.
Was it last summer?
Yeah.
No.
Because I think we went to it. I went to the preview of it right before we went on a vacation, like a road trip.
Like 2023?
2024.
Yes. So not last summer.
Yeah, well, last summer.
I guess. Now we're going to get into semantics of whether it's going to be like next weekend or the weekend.
Right.
Yeah. We don't need to. That's too big of a
fairly recent
discussion.
Fairly recent. They're still
the past summer
ironing things out. Yeah.
I'm not. It's nothing to be hung up on. No. Yeah. We traveled a bit.
Yeah.
Just back and forth.
Like, Kansas City area, right?
Yeah, Kansas City and then like Joplin.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. As you know, like, and the weather wasn't too bad over the break.
No,
there was a couple of wickedly frigid days, but
the kids wanted snow. It's not going to happen.
No, it's 47 today. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm good with it's. I try to ignore the the dread of like climate change for the 47 degree weather in January in Nebraska, but I'll enjoy it for right now.
Yeah,
I'm not complaining.
For the day, it's good.
Yeah. So we're coming up on all the seasons of everything, right?
Yes, so everyone's announcing things. And
yeah. Like I love this time. A lot of calls of like for production, everyone announcing their show lists, or event lists, and fundraising starting to hit hard.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah. So that kind of segues into.
That does.
Yeah.
Okay, Allison Swenson is the General Director of Opera Omaha since 2023. Among the 20 largest opera companies in the United States, Opera Omaha produces between 3 and 4 operas annually and serves the community with over 200 free events each year. She has held positions with Opera Omaha, the Santa Fe Opera, the Glimmerglass Festival, and the Santa Fe Chamber Music Festival. She is also a trained musician, having studied piano and voice. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to meet you and to be with you.
Likewise. Yeah, I was so unbelievably impressed by your bio. The minute I read it, she sent it to me and read it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just kept scrolling, and I was like, this is awesome.
Oh, geez, that's very nice of you to say. That's very nice of you to say.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So you've done quite a bit already with Opera Omaha in the time that you've been here. And you guys are getting ready to announce the 24-25 season. Since this won't air until Monday, would you be willing to kind of talk about some of the highlights of the upcoming season?
Absolutely. It's hard to believe that we're already in 2025. So we're actually announcing our 2025-2026 season on Monday. And we've got a few shows left to go this season, and including one that's in rehearsal right now. So I want to do quick plugs for the shows we have coming up this season. And then spill the beans about next year. And the show we have in rehearsal right now is Stravinsky's The Rake's Progress, which has never been done in Omaha before. It's a true masterpiece. And in addition to having beautiful music and words sung in English, which isn't always the case with opera, so this is an opera that's in English, the sets and costumes were designed by the very famous British artist David Hockney. And they're bright and colorful and imaginative. It's almost like being in a comic book.
Oh, cool.
They're inspired by a series of sketches. And we have 2 performances of The Rake's Progress on February 7th and 9th. It's really a dream show for me to be a part of. In fact, we got through the first day of rehearsal, and I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning just buzzing with excitement that this is really happening and everyone's here and they're so well prepared and they're bringing this great spirit of creativity and inspiration to Omaha. We expand by multiples. Our usual year-round staff is 18 full-time people, 4 part-time people, and then when we're in production, we're working with between 200-300 people when you include the Omaha Symphony, as well as all of the backstage personnel. So it's a very active time for us, and I hope everyone will join us at the Orpheum February 7th and 9th for The Rake's Progress. Then on May 1st, we have Handel's Julius Caesar, and that will be performed by a chamber orchestra that's based in the United Kingdom, and they specialize in the music of Handel. And I don't know if you're classical music lovers.
Yes.
Great. And so Handel's best known work is The Messiah. And we're now just past the holidays, so I hope that people have heard their Messiah and their Hallelujah chorus. You got your Hallelujah chorus fix in December. That's very much the musical style. So this orchestra in the United Kingdom, that is their specialty. And they tour one opera by Handel each year in the United States, and they typically only have 2 stops, one in California and one at Carnegie Hall in New York City, and we were able to persuade them to add Omaha to their list of stops, so we're very excited. I'm sure I won't sleep for the entire week leading up to their performance.
Yeah, that's exciting.
That is exciting.
And then we have a show for families.
I was going to say, that's fairly new. When I saw that announced a while back, I'm like, hey, I don't know if they've ever done anything like that.
I can't say, since we're 67 years old, it's very possible that at some point in our history we had performances that were dedicated to family audiences, but it's been a while. And so Fantastic Mr. Fox is the first in our family opera series. And of course, that is a very well-known title based on the novel by Roald Dahl and made even more popular by the Wes Anderson film in 2009. And we will perform outdoors at Lauritsen Gardens from June 5th through 8th.
Oh, that's awesome.
So get your tickets now.
That's a great setting.
Get your tickets now.
And Hockney, I didn't know that Hockney did the costuming for the upcoming, for the Rakes. Yeah, that's awesome.
And he is still a prolific artist. In fact, preparing for a show in Paris. We invited him to attend, but he is unable as he's busy getting ready for this big show. However, he's sending the executive director of David Hockney Inc. and his longtime archivist to opening night.
Oh, that's awesome. Do you know Hockney?
I don't.
Oh, yeah,
go, look
you
maybe I'll recognize it.
You
but-
would.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool. So you became the director in 2023?
That's right. Yeah. So I came on board as the general director in February of 2023. So I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary, and it has flown by. It's a cliche, but time flies when you're having fun, and I'm having a lot of fun. Just the best people work for Opera Omaha. I don't know if you know this, but we have the most incredible staff and team of people. And, you spend most of your waking hours with your colleagues, and I wake up every morning excited to start the day with all of mine.
And how do you like being in Omaha? Was that much of a change? Or?
So it's my first time living in the Midwest. I'm from Pennsylvania originally, small town, very rural. So small town Northeast culture. And then I went to Ithaca College in Ithaca, New York, which is a big college town between Ithaca and Cornell, huge student population. So it's a really fun place to go to school. And then I worked for the Glimmerglass Festival, which is an opera company in upstate New York, also very small, a small town. The company itself is a good size, but the town is small. And then the bulk of my career was in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So I've lived in the Southwest, or I lived in the Southwest for 13 years before coming here. I will say that Santa Fe gets all 4 seasons because of elevation. Santa Fe is at 7,000 feet above sea level, so almost 2,000 feet higher than Denver.
Yeah.
We definitely got snow there, so I came to Omaha prepared.
Yeah,
Don't worry,
not a shock.
I had parkas, I had snow boots, I was ready to go.
Well, have you met a lot of people who were under the misconception that you were in really great arid weather all year round?
Yes,
before coming here?
yes. I have that speech prepared. I'm sure you can tell. I think people think of Santa Fe as maybe Tucson.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a totally different climate.
Yeah. It's funny when you say that. I'm from Toronto, well, born and raised there, but it's funny how people do not understand the weather. Depending on where you're at. They just, the assumption that I'm in snow all the time since I'm from Toronto, but I'm like, well, it's like
Canada.
it's more south than like a lot of the northern states. So, just 4 seasons. But yeah, you're right. It's funny. Yes, I could tell. I mean, I have a practice speech just as much as that. So it was, I recognized it. That's awesome. So how do you like Omaha?
I love Omaha, genuinely. When I always wanted to work in opera, so I'm the very lucky person that gets to do what they always wanted to do. Both of my parents are music teachers, and I grew up with a lot of classical music in the house, and I played a couple instruments, and I was most serious about singing. But I don't really have the personality or the chops to be a performer, and I thought, well, how do I stay close to this without being a performer or necessarily a teacher? I have great admiration for teachers, and that certainly would have been my second choice. But as an adolescent, I wanted to differentiate from what my parents were doing. And I sang in a mass choir at Carnegie Hall when I was a junior in high school, and I remember this very clearly. Saw a woman running around backstage with a clipboard, and I thought, oh, there are other jobs you can do that allow you to be close to the music. So when I thought, okay, I'm going to work in opera, this is the big dream, I figured all roads lead to New York City. That's kind of the center of the cultural landscape, especially for classical music in the United States. And to date, this is my 20th season working in opera. Omaha is the biggest place I have ever lived.
Oh.
But I genuinely love it. It does have a big small town feel. Our neighbors, my husband and I live in Dundee. I have never experienced such hospitality, and it is genuine. And we have now 20 new best friends in the last 2 years, and I've never had that experience. And I'm so grateful to be here and to have landed here and to have landed at Opera Omaha, which was so well taken care of and stewarded by my predecessor.
That's awesome. I love that testimony. For
Dream
Omaha.
come true.
Yeah, fantastic. So great. So you do sing?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't performed. I don't remember the last time. One of my cousins got married in 2015, and I sang that maybe the last time anyone asked me to do any singing in
you
public.
don't do like karaoke and just
I
kind
was
of
going to
break
say,
it out.
you can come karaoke with us at, at one of the rooms at Smash Park.
I have a deep, dark karaoke secret, which is that even though I have a degree in vocal performance, the one time I did karaoke, I got booed. I know.
Like even I sing terribly, and I haven't gotten booed. I think I've gotten quiet.
It's pretty bad. What happened was, you think you know a song, but you don't actually know the song very well, and things go awry.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit gun shy about karaoke, but maybe I could give it another shot.
Yeah.
This is, as I said, a very welcoming community.
It is. In fact, there was quite a few places of that they're now really kind of shifting to the not the karaoke bar for getting the private room. Because, that's what we do. I mean, we go karaokeing all the time, mostly Reno's, but you get a room for however time, and you just take turns singing with the people who aren't going to boo you. It's kind of nice.
Okay, that gives me some courage. Yeah. Maybe I can dip my toe in the water.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I went karaokeing once. There's a bar. Grandmother's isn't even open anymore, is it? There was, old Omaha bar that's no longer open, but they used to have karaoke on the weekends, and we went there, and because we used to go all the time, and I sang a song, which I won't say the name of the song. It was just to be fun. It was a Sublime song. And I sang it very well, and people were horrified by the material, right? So the next person that came up after me sang "Goodbye Earl" by the Dixie Chicks, which, by the way, I'm sure most people might know what it is, but it's time out. I sang a song. It was everything worked out in the end of the song I sang. But these women killed this guy and put him in a trunk, and they're applauded in standing ovation, and I'm get off. The people were booing me off. Yeah, I never went back. Oh. Just went on a tangent there, but I understand. I understand completely. What did you, when you did, so you have a degree in?
I do. I have what amounts to a double degree in voice performance and marketing.
I love that.
Always with the hope of working in the business side of opera specifically. And I will say, I think Facebook came into being around the time I graduated from college. And so the sphere of marketing has changed so much that I don't know if my marketing degree has been as useful to me as I thought it would be. And of course, it made my parents feel good too, that I had something else to rely on. Yeah. So both of those things were helpful. I would say that my degree in music has helped me perhaps a little bit more. Yeah. And then the hands-on experience of working. I've been super lucky to be employed in the field since I graduated. Yeah. And that's really how I learn the best, is by doing.
What awesome. Is it about opera that appealed to you most, as far as, rather than being, leading a symphony or?
I think as a vocalist, that's how I was first inclined to pursue opera, because I was doing some classical singing myself. And I remember I was about 15 or 16 years old, and I was in the high school marching band. I also played the trombone.
Awesome.
Terribly. It was not disciplined. I never practiced once. Maybe, when I was 10, and I was first assigned to the trombone. I practiced a few times, and then it all fell apart. But I was still in the high school marching band, and we did a performance at Lincoln Center in New York City. So central Pennsylvania, only about 3 hours to New York City. And it was all pop music and Disney tunes. I remember singing Colors of the Wind from Pocahontas there in front of the fountain. And when we dispersed, we could go into the Metropolitan Opera gift shop, and I got this CD, and it was of all Mozart arias. And I heard for the first time this aria from the Magic Flute that the Queen of the Night sings.
I think I know it,
yes. Spectacular and stunning, and I just really did not know that human beings could do that. It was this level of excellence and artistry, like the very finest, most elite athletes. And it was like a light bulb went on again, and this, this has to be my life. This is what I have to do. Yeah. I am called to it. Oh. It was really a calling for me.
That's awesome.
So Opera Omaha did Magic Flute, and my husband helped with the animations for all June Kaneko's designs, and so we got to go with them when it was went out to San Francisco, and just to hear that aria, just to hear that part of the performance was, I think, the most. I don't remember anything else about the performance in California except for her just powerful voice. And it was moving. So just
okay. Beautiful.
I think I can really get into opera.
Yeah.
When you hear something like that. So it's cool.
Well, good.
I like your story about the woman with the clipboard. honestly, because like I am that, like as a producer or working behind the scenes in a production, you're right. It's funny because it's like you really don't understand how many people it takes to put on something like that, right? We were so exposed to the ones with the most exposure, right? So the roles that we all see, if we don't fit into one of those, you're just like, well, how do I continue to do this thing? How do I stay in this industry? And honestly, like that's beautiful to say, like the woman with the clipboard, because there are like in every industry, there's something like analogous to that, right? And it takes like so many people to put on. Maybe we see 20 people, but it took 100 people to get those 20 people to be, where they are, kind of thing. And I think that's kind of my passion, is kind of figuring out the journey for others to find their calling, and not necessarily to be the star or to be in you still have even bigger impact almost, being in the back scene or the backside of everything, because it's like it will not happen without you in those kinds of things. I just think I loved what you said there. Yeah, it was great.
I think it also reminds us that you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
And who you're modeling behavior for. And that is one of my areas of interest with the family opera series, is making clear the career paths that exist in the arts that may not be intuitive. So with Fantastic Mr. Fox, in addition to having national, international talent singing the principal roles, we also have 20 children from Omaha that are performing in the chorus and as the 4 Fox Cubs. And so those children and their families will see the network of professionals that come together to produce an opera. And it's my great hope that the children who are involved not only in this family opera series production, but in future endeavors, might pursue a creative path, because you don't have to stop being creative when you graduate from high school. You don't have to go into, you don't have to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer. Of course, those are wonderful professions and you should pursue them if you're so inclined. But you can follow your dream and make a sustainable living.
That's awesome.
Yep.
I was going to talk about the family series and the show that's just designed for a younger audience with their parents. And I think I think some people underestimate kids and their abilities to what they'll appreciate and enjoy. About a year or two ago, my daughter, she's 13 now, so when she's maybe 11, her music teacher was doing different genres of music, and they did opera. One segment was opera, and so she asked, like, she can go to an opera, and I'm just like, I guess so. I mean, I occasionally find out about either media preview nights or opening nights, so I took her with me to an opera, and I thought maybe she would kind of get antsy, but she just enjoyed it. Like, she sat through the whole thing, and she's like, I can't wait to tell my teacher that, I went to the opera. I went and saw. I didn't think it was going to be, I don't know, I just didn't know if it was going to be totally accessible to her.
Yeah.
She got it. She enjoyed it. Went and bragged to her teacher that she went and saw a live opera. So I think it's amazing I think it's great to give that not really opportunity, but just kind of make it known that, this is for families especially. Anybody can go even without kids.
Yeah,
can go and
the
enjoy.
accessibility to younger people to be exposed to opera at a younger age is awesome. Because honestly, like, I mean, I make a lot of comparisons to the pop culture things, but that moment in Pretty Woman when she was just taken, I honestly think that's the same experience I had the first time I saw opera. Not so dramatically and not so dressed up, but just kind of like taken. It's like the emotion through the music and the performances, and you don't even need to know the language, right? You hope that musical artists, I mean, the hope is to be able to convey those feelings throughout whatever genre it is, right? But I think opera is one of those ones where, like, you feel it in your gut, and so, like, it's not just this understanding of, like, the words or the meaning. It's like this thing that just is, like, happening in you, that all of a sudden, like, the crescendo, you're just like, oh, I have no idea what's happening right now, but it feels awesome. Or, like, I'm so engrossed in what's happening. And it's one of the only, I guess, genres of I see a lot of live shows, and I think that's like the one thing about opera is that, like, it just you feel it, I think, so much, because the language barrier is there, but it doesn't even matter. Like, I think that it's so beautifully, the marriage of the performance to the music and to the composition of the music is so beautiful that you completely walk out of there knowing exactly what happened without even understanding, any of the words in itself.
And I'll add, for anyone that's listening that hasn't been to an Opera Omaha performance, that we do provide English translations above the stage, so you can read what's being sung. Yeah. Much like watching, a Swedish crime drama on Netflix with subtitles. It's exactly the same. So we make sure that you understand. But to your point, I think so much is told through the vocal and musical expression that a lot of times you don't even need the English translation because you understand it.
I love that. Because they didn't have that. My first opera was in 1990 something. So there was no translation. It was but it was awesome. It was in Toronto, and it was, nothing like it. Yeah.
So let's talk about this upcoming season.
So next year, so much excitement. When I got here, okay, so if you're me and you're applying for jobs as a general director, which is basically the CEO, you're taking these interviews and everyone says, well, what is your mission for the company? What do you want to do? How do you want to put your stamp on things? And you don't want to say, I don't know, because that makes you seem like an unprepared candidate. And the quality of singing, I will say, is really my North Star. That is something that's very important to me in all of the work that we produce. And I didn't want to say anything that seemed too naively ambitious, especially because I hadn't even met some of my colleagues in person yet. And I didn't want them to hear interviews with me or read things that I had said, like, we're going to do what? This woman hasn't even been to Omaha before. So it was really important to me to be in observation mode for the first couple months of my tenure and try and understand how things are working, what works really well now, what does our audience value and cherish that is critical to our brand. I don't want to come in and unknowingly take that away from people who really care about it. So that was important to me. And also to evaluate, okay, what are maybe some areas to improve or to streamline? And so the thing that became clear to me that I didn't fully integrate even during the interview process was that we produce 3 operas a year and only 2 performances of each. Which means it can be challenging from a word of mouth perspective, because if you and your daughter see the opera and she brags to her teacher that she saw the opera, the teacher can't go. It's already over.
Yeah.
By the time anyone has heard about it. So it's been my goal to expand our programming and to do more without blowing up the budget and without sacrificing quality. And so we've made a few tweaks to what we do so that we can offer more performances. And this year, with the addition of Fantastic Mr. Fox, we're now at 10 performances, I think, which is great. Yeah. So that's a good increase for us. And then next year, we will have 5 productions and at least 2 of each. And then our family opera series continues, and there are 4 performances of the family opera next year. So it's about mission fulfillment. We really exist because of contributions that we receive from community members. So in my mind, we're asking a lot from the community to support what we do. Are we giving enough back? Are we justifying what we're asking for? And I think we're headed in that direction.
Great, because I always thought when I would go to a show and it's just so much goes into it, it's a kind of a pity that there's only one more show afterward. If I saw the opening and just, wow, there's a lot of work that goes into this, and it's going to be over before you know it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we have 5 titles next year. And we open the season with a very famous title that most people know, whether or not they know anything else about opera, and that is The Barber of Seville.
Nice.
Comedy. I don't always, I've had the opportunity now to program seasons twice. I don't always open with a comedy, but I like to open with a comedy to bring people back together with a laugh. It's such a community, the opera-going community here in Omaha, and to reunite, let's say, after the summer. We've all been traveling. We've all had our break. We're refreshed to come together and share silliness and joy, and beautiful singing is a treat. So we start with The Barber of Seville. It's always been popular. It's always been a success. Rossini was a composer. Sometimes we hear about composers and artists who only became famous or successful posthumously, but he was successful during his lifetime. And so the piece has always had some renown. Cut to mid-century, Bugs Bunny, Rabbit of Seville, then it really blew up in cultural awareness. So we open with The Barber of Seville, really amazing cast. Daniela Mack is singing the role of Rosina. She just headlined at the Metropolitan Opera in New York this year. She makes her Opera Omaha debut. Awesome. Alexander Birch Elliott is Figaro. Yes, that Figaro, the Figaro that we always think of in opera. He's been with us before for an opera called Eugene Onegin a couple years ago. And then absolutely amazing tenor Ming-Hao Liu, who is a rising star and much in demand by opera companies all over the world. We snagged him to sing the role of the Count. So that is set for October 24th and 26th of 2025. So cool. Amazingly, that is only 9 months away.
That's great.
Yeah. That's a good show.
Yeah. I want to go.
I'm glad you mentioned like Looney Tunes. It's just funny that's how a lot of people are introduced to opera, and that's. I wonder if that ever influences choices or.
Well, we definitely think about it with regard to engagement. So in fact, I had a conversation with someone yesterday about our gala this year, which features a dramatic soprano, which is a certain type of soprano. So I'm a soprano, but I only sing certain roles, and that's true of all of us because our bodies are our instruments. So our physiology doesn't support us all singing. Like I can't sing every soprano role, right? So I was explaining this to someone yesterday, and I said, okay, this woman sings the music. Do you remember the Bugs Bunny with the helmet and the Viking helmet and the long blonde braids? That's her music. And so we use it definitely in explanation. And certainly leading up to Barber of Seville, I'm sure that we'll have some Bugs Bunny references.
Absolutely.
In our marketing.
It's funny. I actually forgot about that until you said that. And I tried not to giggle too loud, but it is. That is such a cultural phenomenon, that one. Right. Oh, that's funny. Okay, so you've been in Omaha for almost 2 years.
Yep.
What are some of the things you like to do around town since you've been here? What have you discovered? Any places that you frequent?
My husband and I love to go out to eat, so restaurants, and always interested in trying new restaurants.
Dundee has some great ones.
We live in Dundee. I would say when people come to town, we like to take them to Au Courant. Sometimes people want steak, and that's a whole other thing. We like to do Au Courant. The Old Market is so charming and special. My husband's a big sports fan. I'm sort of a sports fan by association. He is really into Creighton basketball, so that's a part of our lives now. And we've done some UNO hockey. Let's see, what else have we? We need to explore beyond Omaha. We haven't gotten there yet. I feel like my Nebraska geography needs some help, but we're getting there. We're getting there. One thing at a time. Do you want me to chat a little bit more about the other operas after Barbara of Seville next
Please,
year?
yeah. We just didn't want to put you on the spot to have to say that.
No, we can go through
in case it's new and you're like, I don't remember.
Here. So the second opera that we're producing next year is called Susanna. And it is an American opera written by an American composer who also wrote the words. So he's composer and librettist. Libretto is the word for the words or the script or the book that accompany the operas. And this is a story about a young woman who is unfairly maligned. She lives in a small town and she becomes the subject of gossip and speculation. This one is not a comedy, but it's really an incredibly touching. Well, touching is too mild of a word. It's a powerful story about redemption and coming of age and finding your voice and standing up for yourself, even in the face of severe judgment and difficult personal circumstances. I grew up in a small town. I can relate to how the story unfolds. I think that when you watch the show, you know the people who are on stage. When a story was written in 20th century America and I was born in 20th century America, I go, yeah, that resonates. And so I understand all of that. And that is in English. I'll say Barbara of Seville, Italian, Susanna in English. So another English language piece for our audience next year.
And when is that one?
That is January 30th and February 1st of 2026.
Okay.
Then we welcome back the English concert, which is the Baroque Orchestra, who are doing Julius Caesar this year. And next year they're doing Hercules.
Ooh, fun.
So more exploration of Handel's repertory done by some of the very finest musicians in the world. We will put them on stage in the Orpheum. So, if you go to an opera, typically the orchestra is in the pit and you don't see them. They're not a visual part of the experience, but they are front and center for Hercules.
Well,
And the cast for Hercules is also fabulous, and I will call out the person singing the role of Hercules. His name is William Guanbo-Su. Incredible bass baritone. I have heard him several times. Heard him most recently in a production where he had a rather small role. He would not be the most memorable character in the opera just because he sings, 5% of the opera as compared to other characters that are singing like 70, 80%. But I left and went, I think he was my favorite. He was my favorite character. And we've been trying to get him to Omaha for other projects, and I'm just so thrilled that it came together for Hercules.
That's awesome.
And then we have a co-production with the Omaha Symphony. So the Omaha Symphony is our treasured partner. Colloquially speaking, they are our band. So typically when we're in the Orpheum, we are the Omaha Symphony plays for us. So that's who you're hearing when you go to an Opera Omaha performance. And we couldn't be, more fortunate to benefit from the excellent musicianship that they bring. And my counterpart, Jennifer, at the Symphony approached me about the idea of doing a piece on their season. And we worked together. We had a great time. Her artistic team and our artistic team working together to talk about opera titles that would appeal to both audiences, the symphony audience and the opera audience. And how does that work in a venue? Because we'll be at the Holland Center instead of the Orpheum. How do you bring the theatricality to the Holland Center, which is more designed for the concert experience? And so we landed on this truly compelling opera. It's only an hour long, called Bluebeard's Castle by Bartók. And it features only two characters, Bluebeard and his new wife. And she makes some unpleasant discoveries, shall we say, when she moves into their new home, their new marital home. And to add to the drama and the experience, we've engaged an amazing illustrator to do custom projection design that will accompany the piece on those beautiful big screens they have at the Holland. I so admire everything the Symphony has done to advance technologically and to make the concert going experience even more contemporary. And so we have 2 performances of Bluebeard's Castle on April 24th and 25th of 2026.
At the Holland.
At the Holland.
They are very different venues. That's interesting that you did point to.
Acoustics-wise, it's
massive.
I always tell people, like, if there's ever a band or a singer coming through and they play the Holland, you just have to.
Yeah.
And I guess now the
beautiful.
Steelhouse kind of.
Steelhouse is great. Yeah, they're acoustic.
Different type of music, but
the last
fantastic venue.
I like that. I like that the technological, like the artistic aspect of that I'm looking forward to seeing that. The last symphony show that I saw was the one with Andy Aikio with June's.
Oh, cool.
With Kaneko. So we all went. He came into town. I was with Kaneko then still. So we went and he played on the big steel head. It was front and center of the stage. And Andy played percussion. Like, he composed the whole show, played on the actual sculpture.
On top of?
No, around it.
Around it. Oh, okay.
Him and June had worked together for years, over a few years. I can ask, there's somebody in the audience that could maybe confirm my time frame, but don't quote me on it. But they had collaborated on this. They'd known each other for years, but there's different points of the sculpture that made different sounds, and like it took Andy, like, I don't know the time frame, but it took him a long time to compose this, and it was beautiful. It was so cool, just the dramatic, like, having that big of a sculpture in the middle of that stage, and then hearing the music being played on it was a really, really cool experience. I knew it was coming. We'd done promotions for it. Andy and his team all came in, and we were all prepared for it. But seeing it was pretty breathtaking. It was so impactful in that way. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I think that would be really great to have that collaboration.
Totally.
Yeah. So cool.
And then our last show is the continuation of our family opera series, and it's a piece called Unshakable. And I played the teeniest part in the world premiere of this opera. It's a 1-act opera, and it premiered in Santa Fe when I was working there in 2016. And this is where the word touching is appropriate. This is such a touching piece. It is appropriate for audiences of all ages. It's just about 45 minutes long, and it has a very Station 11 vibe to it, if you're familiar with the book or the series. Again, appropriate, but it has that vibe. We follow 2 actors in a dystopian future. They're a husband and wife team. They have been separated. There's an epidemic that has swept the globe, and this epidemic causes memory loss. And so the husband has his memory, the wife does not have hers. They're looking for each other. She doesn't always know what she's looking for. They find each other, and they learn how to communicate again using the lines of Shakespeare that they used to recite as actors. And so it's really a beautiful story. There is a small audience participation component, which is especially fun for the younger ones. And the audience has to participate in order for the 2 to find each other.
Oh, that's nice. Cool.
And it takes place, that production we are doing at the Hoff Center in Council Bluffs.
Cool.
Awesome.
Which is such a beautiful venue. And of course we serve the Council Bluffs community as well as Omaha. So to continue to expand our reach and meeting people, meeting our audience where they are, we're excited to be in Council Bluffs next year.
Have you gone to anything at the Hoff Center?
Yes.
Yeah.
I went to one of their 4th Fridays events.
So great.
Just kind of wander around.
Yeah. I've been to the PACE event, the fundraiser, both for the past 2 years.
Is that the art dish thing, or is it different?
It's at the Hoff Center. It's for the Potawatomi Arts Culture Entertainment.
Right.
It's what that is. And then they have each floor. They've got different performers and then different vendors for food. They ask local artists regional artists to contribute, and there's like an auction element, and then there's art for purchase, there's interactive activities with some of the vendors, and then they put on a couple of shows. So then the theater productions that they have on through the year, they will do like a medley of some of them, so like from the kids, because the kids program there is amazing, and then they have some of the dancers and some of the singers, and they do like a medley. And then this year they also had they had Touch of Grey, so they had the Dead tribute band play afterward. It was awesome. It's such a great event, such a very cool venue. Like I love, they're right across the river.
Right. The Fourth Fridays is really
fun,
cool because it's free, and like you can go through the galleries and peek in studios.
Yeah, that is a great venue. Cool.
And I can't think of when I used to work in Council Bluffs, and I did arts and entertainment covered arts and entertainment for their newspaper, and I don't know if there ever was like an opera opportunity within that city.
Yeah.
So.
I know we've done some in recent years, some Opera to Go, which is a series of performances that we do typically in the summer, sometimes late spring or early fall when the weather's nice, and we bring a couple singers, and you might find us at farmers markets or at a library, and so we've had a presence there in Council Bluffs, but we haven't done opera with a capital O in Council Bluffs before.
I like how you put it that way. That's awesome. Yeah, what a great. I love the collaboration. The kind of the mission-driven. Kind of going back to your point on that is just like it's not just it's giving back to the community that gives to you in order to operate. I just think that's lovely.
So do you have like a favorite opera that you have yet to have produced, or still have a big get someday that you want to do?
Oh, yeah. The list is very long. I was asked a question a couple days ago that's different but similar, which was, are you producing operas? There are some operas that you must be excited for, and some you just do because you think you have to do them. And I don't feel that way at all. I'm really excited about everything that we're doing. I wouldn't choose it if I didn't like it. So the first thing I'll say is we love our children all the same. I'm very excited about all the works that we're producing. There are some that are done less frequently, which as a real music lover and someone that has now seen a lot of opera, and I see as much opera as I can, there are some I have seen many times. That doesn't mean I'm less excited to see them, but there is something special about doing the works that aren't done as frequently. And that's the experience I'm having with the Rake's progress right now, which I'm elated over. But yeah, looking down the road, I'll tell you, I don't have a favorite opera. That's almost impossible. It's sort of like, what's your favorite movie? You can say, well, I like crime and comedy and romance, and I can't choose one. They're also different, and the same thing is true about opera. But if I was, under duress, forced to say what my favorite opera is, I might say an opera called Yennefer, which is in Czech, and it's by the composer Janáček. It's never been done here. In fact, we've never performed an opera in Czech at Opera Omaha. And the first year I worked at the Glimmer Glass Festival, it was 2006. We did Yennefer, and I had never heard of it. And it is such a powerful story. I was in the house for every single performance. I was in the back of the theater. You could not tear me away from it. There are certainly many layers of trauma in the story. It's a hard story, but it ends with forgiveness. And it's like, this is the very best of human nature, that someone can endure these life events and pick themselves back up and put themselves together and say, I can keep going, and I forgive you. I see that you did the best that you could at the time. And it's like, it is just saying chills. That is it's such a powerful piece. So that's high on my wish list. But But it also requires us to really communicate well with the community what that piece is, because if you look at it, it's spelled Jenufa. Sometimes it can be a deterrent if people don't immediately understand what the title is or know what they're going to see. So it requires some education on our part to say, okay, this is what this piece is. This is why we're doing it. Here's why you should see it. Don't be worried about whether you're pronouncing it right or wrong. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just come and have the experience. You're going to be changed by it. Like, I promise you, you will be changed by it.
Wow. Oh, I still want you to get in here now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so good. This is, we can keep going. I can just, I'm like, there's so many questions, and yet I know we have like our boundaries.
Okay. Right. You're right. We should probably wrap that up. So at the end of every episode, we ask our guests the same question. Where do you find inspiration in Omaha?
That's really easy, actually. And I know you primed me a little bit for it, and you said, okay, we're going to ask this question. And it came to me immediately, which is the people. This is the friendliest place I have ever lived, hands down, and it is genuine. People really look out for each other. Like I said, I have 20 new best friends in my neighbors who are always looking out for me. My colleagues are the same way. And this is a city that really just deserves the best. If Omaha has an opera company, it should be the very best opera company it can be, because the people here deserve it. And they're so generous. As I said, we exist because of contributions, but they're also generous of spirit. And I really do think that people here look out for each other in a way that I have not experienced anywhere else in my life.
That's a great answer. Yeah. My favorite of the year.
Good job.
Is there anything else?
Anything that you didn't get to touch upon that you want to share?
You know, I'll throw out that subscriptions are on sale now. I don't think you want to miss any of the 5 operas in 25-26. So subscriptions for 25-26 on sale now. Snag those. Get tickets for all 5 shows. Single tickets for next season will go on sale in August. Of course, single tickets for this season, the shows that I've already mentioned, are on sale on our website and Ticket Omaha.
Thank you so much.
We hope you'll
time.
come, have fun, enjoy it, have a moving, transformative, artistic experience.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening to Oh My Omaha, the podcast. We want to thank our guest, Hurrdat Media, all of you for your support, and the Omaha community at large.
So from Dee and I, keep on exploring.